Do you have any idea who I am? I've commanded soldiers in war zones. You think a small-town judge can tell me what to do?" Those words came out of the mouth of a man standing in my courtroom, Providence Municipal Court. I'm Judge Frank Caprio, and in all my years on the bench, I've heard a lot of things. But what happened next made the entire courtroom go silent. The man who said those words was 42 years old. His name was Colonel Derek Hartman. He stood 6 feet tall with perfect posture. His uniform was crisp, green jacket with gold buttons. Ribbons lined his chest. His hair was cut military short. Gray touched his temples. His jaw was square and tight. But his eyes, they were cold, dismissive, like everyone in the room was beneath him. If you believe justice should be equal for everyone, you'll want to see what happens next. My bailiff, Officer Santos, stepped forward with the file. Case 2026 TR 48721, the city versus Colonel Derek Hartman, reckless driving, leaving the scene, and endangering a pedestrian. I looked up from my desk. "Good morning, Colonel Hartman. Please step forward." He walked to the podium slowly. His boots clicked on the floor. Each step was measured, calculated. He didn't look nervous. He looked annoyed. Before I could say anything else, a young woman approached the other side of the courtroom. Her name was Maria Castillo. She was 24 years old. She worked as a nursing assistant at Rhode Island Hospital. She wore her purple scrubs under a thin jacket. Her hands shook as she held a folder. Her left arm was in a sling. A white cast covered her wrist. Her face was tired, dark circles under her eyes. She'd been working double shifts to save money for her daughter's birthday. Maria had been crossing the street on Atwells Avenue 3 weeks ago. She had the walk signal. She was halfway across when a black Mercedes SUV came speeding around the corner. It didn't slow down. It didn't stop. It clipped her left side and sent her spinning to the pavement. Her wrist snapped on impact. Her phone shattered. Her bag flew into the gutter. The SUV didn't stop. A witness wrote down the license plate. "That's how we got here today." I looked at Maria first. "Ms. Castillo, I'm very sorry this happened to you. How is your wrist healing?" She spoke softly. "It's getting better, Your Honor, but I can't work full shifts yet. I've been missing paychecks." I nodded. "We'll make sure this gets addressed properly." Then I turned to Colonel Hartman. "Colonel, you're accused of hitting Ms. Castillo with your vehicle and leaving the scene. How do you plead?" He sighed. Actually sighed, like I was wasting his time. "Your Honor, I was late for a meeting at the base. I may have been driving quickly, but I didn't see anyone, and frankly, this whole situation is being blown out of proportion." I felt my jaw tighten. Blown out of proportion. Ms. Castillo has a broken wrist. He shrugged. "I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm saying I don't remember it. I've been under immense stress. I run tactical operations. I'm responsible for hundreds of lives. A fender bender doesn't register on my radar." The gallery murmured. A few people shifted in their seats. I held up my hand for silence. "Colonel Hartman, this isn't a fender bender. This is a hit and run. A person was injured. Do you understand that?" He leaned on the podium casually, too casually. "With respect, Your Honor, I think we need to keep perspective here. I serve this country. I've been deployed 4 times. I've earned my rank. I don't think a minor traffic incident should derail my career." I took a slow breath. "Your service is noted and appreciated, but it doesn't place you above the law." He smiled, not a friendly smile, a thin, tight smile. "Of course not, Your Honor. I asked the prosecutor to present evidence." A young attorney named Rachel Diaz stood up. She placed a folder on the table. "Your Honor, we have 3 pieces of evidence. First, dash cam footage from a city bus that was stopped at the intersection." She played the video on the courtroom screen. Everyone watched. The footage was clear. A black Mercedes SUV with plate number RTF 8847 came around the corner fast. Too fast. Maria stepped into the crosswalk. The SUV didn't even tap the brakes. It hit her. She flew backward. The SUV kept going. The courtroom gasped. Maria looked down at her lap. Her good hand clenched into a fist. I looked at Colonel Hartman. "That's your vehicle, correct?" He didn't flinch. "It appears so. But again, Your Honor, I was focused on the road ahead. I didn't see her." You didn't see a woman in a crosswalk. It was early morning. The sun was in my eyes. Rachel Diaz spoke up. Your Honor, the incident happened at 7:43 a.m. The sun rises in the east. Colonel Hartman was driving north. The sun would have been to his right, not in his eyes. Colonel Hartman's jaw tightened. I misspoke. I meant there was glare. I let that sit for a moment. Then I said, what about stopping? Even if you didn't see her, you must have felt the impact. He crossed his arms. My vehicle is heavy. I didn't feel anything unusual. Rachel stepped forward again. Your Honor, we also have phone records. Colonel Hartman's phone was active at the time of the accident. He was on a call that lasted from 7:40 a.m. to 7:52 a.m. He was talking while driving. I looked at him. Is that true? He hesitated. Just a second. Then he said, I may have been on a call. I use hands-free. It's legal. It's legal, I said slowly, but it's also a distraction, especially when you're speeding. He bristled. I wasn't speeding. I was moving with traffic. Rachel held up another document. Your Honor, the bus dash cam recorded his speed using timestamps and distance markers. He was going 48 miles per hour in a 25-mile-per-hour zone. The room got quieter. People leaned forward. I looked at Colonel Hartman. His face was red now. Do you have a response to that? He straightened his shoulders. Your Honor, I think we're getting sidetracked. Yes, I was driving. Yes, there was an incident. But I'm willing to settle this reasonably. I'll pay for her medical bills. I'll cover her lost wages. Let's move on. I felt something twist in my chest. Move on? Yes, I have responsibilities. I can't spend weeks dealing with this. Maria's voice came from across the room. It was quiet but steady. You didn't even stop. You didn't check if I was okay. You just left me there. Colonel Hartman glanced at her. Barely. I'm sorry you were hurt, but I have a duty to my country. I can't be everywhere at once. That's when I saw something shift in his face. Arrogance turned to impatience. He looked at his watch. Actually looked at his watch. Your Honor, he said, can we speed this up? I have a briefing at 1400 hours. I put my pen down. Colonel Hartman, you're in a courtroom. You'll stay as long as it takes. He exhaled sharply. I understand that. But I think you need to understand who you're dealing with. I'm not some kid with a speeding ticket. I'm a decorated officer. I've served under 3 presidents. I've been awarded the Bronze Star. I've led men into combat. I think I deserve a little respect here. The gallery went still. A few people looked at each other. Rachel Diaz's eyes widened. I leaned forward. Respect is earned, Colonel, and right now, you're not earning it. His face darkened. Excuse me? You heard me. He stepped closer to the podium. His voice got louder. I've given 20 years to this country. I've missed birthdays, holidays. I've been shot at. I've watched good men die. And you're going to lecture me about respect because of a traffic accident? I didn't raise my voice. I didn't have to. This isn't about your service. This is about your actions. You hit a woman. You left her on the street, and now you're standing here acting like you're the victim. He pointed at me, actually pointed. You don't know what it's like. You sit in this comfortable courtroom and judge people. I'm out there protecting people like you. Rachel stood up. Your Honor, I object to... Colonel Hartman cut her off. I'm not done. He turned back to me. His eyes were blazing now. You know what your problem is? You're stuck in this little bubble. You don't understand the bigger picture. Some of us are more important than others. That's just a fact. I'm responsible for national security. He waved his hand toward Maria. She's a nurse's aide. No offense, but there's a hierarchy. My time is worth more. 10 seconds of silence. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. The words hung in the air like poison. Then the gallery exploded. People shouted. Someone stood up. Officer Santos moved toward the benches. I banged my gavel 3 times. Hard. Order. Order in this court. The room settled. Slowly. But the anger didn't leave. I could feel it vibrating in the walls. I looked at Colonel Derek Hartman, and I let the silence stretch. I wanted him to hear his own words echoing back. Finally, I spoke. My voice was calm, but there was steel underneath. Colonel Hartman, Derek, let me make sure I understand you correctly. You just said that your time is worth more than Maria Castillo's time. Is that right? He blinked. For the first time, he looked uncertain. I'm just being realistic. Realistic, I repeated. Let me tell you what's realistic. Maria Castillo wakes up at 5 in the morning every day. She takes 2 buses to get to work. She changes bedpans. She holds the hands of dying patients. She makes $12 an hour. She has a 6-year-old daughter named Sophia, who she's raising alone. And when you hit her with your car, you didn't just break her wrist, you broke her ability to feed her child. His face was pale now. I didn't. You didn't know? You didn't care? Which one, Derek? He didn't answer. I continued. You stood here and said you're more important than her. You said there's a hierarchy. Let me tell you something about hierarchy. In this courtroom, there is no hierarchy. A colonel and a nurse's aide are equal under the law. Do you understand that? He nodded stiffly. I asked you a question, Derek. Do you understand that? Yes, he said quietly. I didn't hear you. Yes, Your Honor. I leaned back. You mentioned your service, your Bronze Star, your deployments, and I want to be clear. I honor that, truly. But here's the thing, Derek. You don't get to use your service as a shield. You don't get to hide behind your uniform when you do something wrong. In fact, I'd argue you should be held to a higher standard. You took an oath. You swore to protect people. Not just Americans overseas, all people, including Maria Castillo. He looked down. And you know what really bothers me, Derek? You didn't apologize. Not once. Not to her. Not to this court. You made excuses. You blamed the sun. You blamed your phone. You blamed your stress. But you never once took responsibility. And that, Derek, is not the behavior of a leader. That's the behavior of a coward. The word landed like a punch. His head snapped up. His mouth opened, but nothing came out. I kept going. You said your time is worth more. Let me ask you something. What if it was your daughter in that crosswalk? What if someone hit her and drove away? What if that person stood in court and said, "Sorry, but I'm important and she's not"? How would you feel? His eyes were wet now. He didn't answer. I'll tell you how you'd feel, Derek. You'd feel the same way Maria feels right now. Invisible, disposable, less than human. And that's not acceptable. Not in my courtroom. Not in this country. I paused. Let him sit with that. Then I said, "You want respect, Derek? Earn it. Starting now." I straightened the papers in front of me. The courtroom was silent again, but this time it was a different kind of silence. Focused. Waiting. Colonel Derek Hartman, I said formally, I find you guilty of reckless driving, leaving the scene of an accident and endangering a pedestrian. Here is your sentence. I looked directly at him. First, you will pay $15,000. $10,000 goes to Maria Castillo to cover her medical bills, lost wages, and pain and suffering. $5,000 goes to the Providence Community Fund for pedestrian safety programs. He nodded slowly. Second, your driver's license is suspended for 1 year. You will not drive any vehicle during that time. If you need to get to the base, you'll take a bus, or a taxi, or you'll carpool. I don't care how you do it, but you won't be behind a wheel. His face went tight. Your Honor, that's going to severely impact. I'm not finished. He closed his mouth. Third, you will complete 200 hours of community service. And here's how it will work. You will spend every Saturday for the next 6 months at Rhode Island Hospital. You will volunteer in the same unit where Maria works. You will help the nursing staff. You will clean rooms. You will deliver meals. You will do whatever they ask you to do, and you will do it with humility. His eyes widened. Your Honor, every Saturday, Derek, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. You'll report to the volunteer coordinator. She'll keep a log. If you miss a single day without a valid excuse, you'll be held in contempt. Do you understand? Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your. Fourth, You will write a handwritten apology letter to Maria Castillo, not typed, handwritten, 1 page minimum. You'll deliver it to this court within 1 week, and I'll review it before it's given to her. It will be sincere, it will be specific, and it will acknowledge exactly what you did wrong. He swallowed hard. Yes, Your Honor. Fifth, you will participate in a public service announcement about pedestrian safety. The Providence Police Department is launching a campaign. You'll appear in a video. You'll tell your story. You'll explain what you did and why it was wrong. And you'll encourage other drivers to slow down and pay attention. The video will be shown in schools and on local news. Your face will be attached to this mistake, Derek, and that's part of your accountability. He looked like he might argue, but he didn't. He just nodded. Sixth, you will attend a victim impact panel. Once a month for the next 6 months, you'll sit in a room with other people who've been hurt by reckless drivers. You'll listen to their stories. You won't speak unless asked. You'll just listen. And maybe, Derek, you'll start to understand what you put Maria through. I paused, took a breath. And finally, you interrupted these proceedings multiple times. You showed disrespect to this court and to Ms. Castillo. So I'm holding you in contempt. You'll spend 48 hours in county jail, starting immediately after this hearing. Officer Santos will escort you. His face went white. Your Honor, please. 48 hours, Derek. You'll have time to think about hierarchy. Officer Santos stepped forward. He had handcuffs ready. Colonel Hartman looked around the courtroom. For a moment I thought he might resist, but then his shoulders sagged. He held out his wrists. The metal clicked into place. The sound echoed. As Officer Santos led him toward the side door, I added one more thing. Derek, when you get out, you have a choice. You can be bitter, you can blame me, or you can take this as an opportunity to become the man you think you are. I hope you choose the second option. He looked back at me. His eyes were red. He didn't say anything. The door closed behind him. 6 months later, I was reviewing files in my office when my clerk knocked on the door. Judge, someone's here to see you. I looked up. It was Maria Castillo. Her cast was gone. Her arm looked strong again. She was smiling. Ms. Castillo, how are you? I'm good, Your Honor. Really good. I wanted to thank you. You don't need to thank me. I just did my job. She shook her head. No, you did more than that. You made me feel like I mattered, and I wanted you to know something. Colonel Hartman finished his community service last week. He worked every single Saturday. He was on time. He worked hard. And at the end, he apologized to me, a real apology. He looked me in the eye and said he was sorry, and I believed him. I felt a warmth in my chest. That's good to hear. He told me the hospital offered him a permanent volunteer position. He's going to keep coming, 1 Saturday a month. He said it changed his perspective. I smiled. That's what I hoped for. Maria handed me an envelope. He wanted me to give you this. I opened it. Inside was a handwritten note. It said, Your Honor, I was wrong about everything. Thank you for holding me accountable. I'm a better man because of it. Derek Hartman. I folded the note carefully. Maria left. I sat alone in my office for a while, thinking. People ask me sometimes why I do this job, why I spend my days listening to people's problems, why I care so much about traffic tickets and parking violations and small disputes. I do it because justice isn't just about big cases. It's about small moments. It's about looking someone in the eye and saying, you matter, your pain matters, your dignity matters. Derek Hartman thought he was more important than Maria Castillo. He thought his rank and his medals made him special, and in some ways, they did, but not in the way he thought. What made him special wasn't his uniform. It was his willingness eventually to admit he was wrong, to learn, to change. That's the lesson. We're all equal under the law, and we're all capable of becoming better. That's justice.